ahead and find our sit bones and drop nice and tall through the center of the body, just gently engaging that pelvic floor. Bring those shoulders up to your ears and roll them back and down and go long through the crown. And close your eyes and just let your hands either be face down or face up. It's whatever is feeling moved to do today. Face up is about receiving. Face down is about inquiry within. So let's just go within, take a quick little cruise through the interior of the body and notice where you're feeling ease, and notice where you're feeling resistance. There's no judgment, just notice. Go long through the crown, take a nice deep inhale through the nose. Let it out with a big sigh. And then just drop in to Ujjayi breath with the ocean sound by tightening the back of your throat. Inhaling and exhaling through the nose. Nowhere to go, nothing to do, except really breathe. Feel your body move with the breath. And if the monkey mind is jumping around like a little kid with too much cotton candy, give that monkey something to do. Let him manage the breath. So that might look like this. Inhaling Om, exhaling Om. Inhaling Om, exhaling Om. So we're going to just really focus on our breath for the next few minutes as we drop in. And as you're inhaling and exhaling, just notice what's happening as you bring that air deep into your lungs, all the way to your belly. Notice what's tight, notice what's loose. And if you need a blanket under your hips, you can grab one of those. Notice as you inhale, we're bringing in life. And as you exhale, you're letting go of anything that no longer serves you. And in that release, find your shoulders softening down. One more time through, all the way through. And on the next inhale, begin to circle around that pelvic bowl. It's almost as if the pelvis is the bowl and the spine is a spoon. And we're stirring it up. I'm going to just begin to release whatever tension that is there. You're going to feel this in your hips, in the hip joints. You might feel it in your low back. You're going to feel that pelvic floor draw up and support the body being tall. Remember to keep breathing. Just because we started moving, there's still the invitation to invite your breath into this. And begin to deepen the circle, going a little bit farther forward, a little farther to the side, a little more towards the back. So this doesn't mean that you're circulating your head. You're still growing long in the crown. This is all about that lumbar spine. The lumbar spine is actually quite large. The vertebrae in the low back have a lot to support. They're our center of our being. The low back supports up and it supports down. So it gives us a base for the upper body, and it gives us support for the lower body because the muscles attach into the pelvic floor, into the pelvis, and then on down into the legs. The body is an amazing machine of pulleys and levers. And let's slow this down, coming to the center, and then reverse it. Little circles to start with. So if you were going to the left to begin with, go to the right. If you were going to the right to begin with, go to the left. Opposite direction. See if you can begin to feel the muscles not only around the spine, which includes all the transverse muscles, our waist muscles, the rectus abdominis, but then imagine down into that pelvic bowl and where the legs sit into the hips, that round circular joint. Notice how that muscles of the hips and the behind begin to open. And then take your imagination up into the rib cage. Feel how just this one circular motion intricately moves all the other tissue above and below it. Begin to feel some fluidity between the ribs. Growing long in the crown keeps the head tall, effortlessly. And notice when you engage your pelvic floor, it allows the body to grow up tall. Deepening those circles, deepening the breath. Nice big circles. There you go, good. Bringing it right to center, inhaling the hands up. Nice and tall, exhaling. Swan dive forward. Let those arms come out wide. Flatten your back. And then right here, as you go long in the crown, give a little bit of a cat tilt on the exhale. And then inhale, flatten the back. And exhale, cat tilt. So that's a nice arch in the back. Inhale, flat back. Notice that you can go a little lower. Exhale, cat. Inhale, sinking down. As you release that low back, then the hips begin to release also. Exhale. Inhale, flatten it down. Exhale. In, flat back, drawing yourself up. Bringing those hands back up. Circling them around. Bringing them behind you and letting those fingertips, if you have the space, to face towards your behind and lean back on them. Open that heart. Give a little cow here. And then exhale, flat back. Inhale, cow. Exhale, flat back. Inhale. And exhale. One more. Inhale. And exhale. Release those feet, keeping your hands where they are. So release those feet and just gently begin to rock them side to side, giving a little bit of twist to that low back. Finding your breath. Slowing it down. Inviting the body to warm up. Allowing the body to move freely. Or if it's choosing not to move freely, bring your breath to that resistance. Embracing the resistance. Sometimes resistance is there to protect us. Sometimes it's there because we think we need protected, but we really don't. So explore that. It's an inquiry. Excellent. Coming back to center, bringing those feet together. Bring up nice and tall. Walk those feet out a little bit. Let those knees open. You might be up here. That's okay. If you're down, that's okay too. Let your hands come nice and tall through the spine. Come to your ankles. Soften out of your shoulders. Go along in your crown. And then give just a little cat tilt. And inhale into a little cow. So this is really slow and gentle. Slow down the breath. Exhale it out. Inhale. And this time on the exhale, we're going to just round the back, kind of over that space between your heels and your pubic bone, dropping the head, dropping the shoulders, finding your breath, dropping in with your breath, inhaling, exhaling, staying right here, staying with your breath, nowhere to go, nothing to do. Sinking into those hips, sinking into that low back. Inhaling, drawing up, coming up. Excellent. We're going to go right onto our knees. So, moving your blankets out of the way, coming right onto your knees, making sure that your knee is right below that point, right here, your hip points. So that's the bony part of the front of the pelvic bowl, right here. This is not your hips. This is your hips, okay? So I'm going to turn sideways, but we're going to be like this, drawing up nice and tall. But I want you to be able to see what's happening here. Hopefully it looks good. Grow up nice and tall. Draw those shoulders back. Bring the left hand behind you and set it on your behind. Bring that right hand behind you. Big dynamic circle in the shoulder. On the behind. So it looks like this from behind, okay? Engage long through the core. Open up that chest. Bring those elbows together. This might be your posture right here, working those elbows together. So go long in your crown, and as we press back into camel, that's where we're headed, you're going to initiate the movement from the front of your legs. So imagine that those legs are going to touch the wall in front of you. Okay? So it's not this, it's this. It's a different movement when you initiate it from here. Okay? Find your breath. Stay with it. This opens your quads. So as really make sure that that core is engaged. Let the movement be from right here. Put the fingers right there. You got it. And if you're really tight in the pelvic bowl, this will really show up here, right here. Good. Imagine that I'm coming up and touching you right here on your leg and asking you to press into my fingers. Press into my fingers. Breathing. Everybody quit breathing. That's beautiful work. So let's bring that breath back into it. And if you find that you're having a hard time in this posture because your feet won't lie flat on the mat, you can put a blanket underneath your ankles if you need it. But it's also really nice too because on the front of the lower leg, it's opening those muscles in the front of the feet. Nice. On the next inhale, we're going to inhale up, back tall. We're going to sink straight back into child's pose. So I was watching one of my videos last night, and I don't think back quite as far as a lot of you do just because of my knee, and I'm working through that. So we'll watch over the next month in the videos, see if I can sink lower. As we open the quads, lengthen the tendons in the knees. Beautiful. On the next inhale, we're going to rise back up. We're going to do that again. And I'm going to give you an option of deepening this. However, I only want you to deepen this if you feel strong and confident in the camel that we have. So inhaling the hand back behind you. Now, if you want a little more work in the hands, you can go fingertips up. So if you do that, it opens the wrist. So inhale, other arm back. Draw those elbows together. Now, if you feel super strong in this camel and you want to deepen it, you can start by turning your toes under and reaching back for the heels. Okay, my body's not going to do this. And then if you're really stretching, you can put your hands on your heels, you can lower them down and go even deeper. So I'm still working through opening my body. So I honor that I need to be right here in the first level. Sometimes the greatest strength is saying no. It's not always about saying yes. It's about honoring where you're at in the journey. If you're feeling this in your low back, and engage your pelvic floor, draw up through your heart space. Reach that heart to the sun, breathing. Two more breaths, you can do it. Inhaling, growing tall. Exhaling, bringing those arms around, sinking down into child. Walk those hands far out in front of you. Let your forehead go to the floor as you roll over your quad. The body knows. No forcing. Inhaling, rising up. We're going to do that one more time. So this time, I would like you to experience taking it to the edge and then backing off the edge. So inhaling the hand up and around, circling it around. Find where you want your hands. Exhaling, other hand around. Inhaling, growing long in the crown. Exhaling, heading forward with those quads. Find your breath. Drop in. Where do you feel the breath entering into your body? Do you feel it at the tip of your nose? Do you feel it as it passes over the back of your throat? Do you feel it as it fills your lungs? Just notice. Inhaling, drawing up, nice and tall. Exhaling, inhaling, hands up. Exhaling, last dive down into child's pose. Sinking down into it. This time you might open your knees. We're going to be here for just a minute. Sinking back to wherever this feels safe and comfortable to you. Folding down into the floor, into yourself. Letting your head connect to the earth. Release anything that no longer serves you. On the next inhale, we're going to rise up. And we're going to come back onto our knees. Right here. And we're going to lengthen out through, let's go right leg first. So, I would like to have the toe pointing away from you, but if you can't do that because of your hips, you can let it point kind of at a 70-degree angle because it's important that your hips are forward. Okay, so Carrie, it might be easier if you go like the same direction as your mat because you want your leg out beside you. We're going to do some lateral movement. There you go. So if you guys are on your mat and you line your leg and your hips up with your mat, that's where we're headed, okay? So we're going to inhale our hands out. And the first direction we're going to go is towards that leg, sinking into it. Hello, can you feel all those ribs we worked yesterday? Send them some breath. Send them some love. Inhaling, exhaling, breathing into it. Excellent. Inhaling. And we've emptied everything we don't need. So let's gather what we do need from the universe. Open your hands wide. Take a nice deep breath in. Engage your core. Square off those hips. Inhaling, exhaling, we're going to head the other direction. Now, when you go to the floor, make sure that when your hand connects to the floor, that you look down and that that shoulder is right above your wrist. So, none of this, okay? That's a lot of pressure on that shoulder joint, underneath the shoulder directly. And then inhaling up. So, breathe into it. Now, super strong people who want to challenge, engage your core with that foot up right here. That's not me, but it's an option for you. There you go. That's a beautiful balance pose. So you can play with it and you can just lift your toe about 2 inches off, engage your core, breathe into it, lengthen through your crown. Connecting with your breath. 1 Om. Exhale, Om. Lower that foot down. Inhale through that fingertip. Take it all the way over your head. Feel that nice. I love this because it stretches from your fingertips. Really point those fingertips so you have this nice long stretch from your fingertips. Bring that arm all the way over your ear. Almost as if your arm's going to touch your head. There you go. Feel that open from your hip to your armpit. Down your leg, up your arm. And my imagination is that the back side of my arms are tightening up around my upper arm. Beautiful. Inhaling back up. Inhaling up. Coming back. Exhaling the hands down. That's such a beautiful movement. Coming back to center. Taking a minute just to breathe. Notice what your right side and your left side feel different. They don't feel different, then that's really cool. You're nice and stretchy. And on the next inhale, we're going to inhale the other foot out. So I'm having a little personal inquiry because this is my left knee, the one that's healing. So remember, right toe or left toe pointing out. Inhaling, hands up. Exhaling, headed towards your leg.
Nice deep breath. So this is a nice counter pose to what we just did. It's not quite as deep. It's breathing into it. Beautiful. Staying connected in with your breath. Inhaling, coming up. Exhaling, hands flying to the floor. Make sure it's underneath your shoulder. So you might have to play with that a little bit to figure out where your shoulder is. You might have to walk your hand in or out once or twice. Find your breath. Get comfortable here first. Make sure your core is engaged. Draw that belly button in. Feel your hips stabilize. Inhale, exhale. On the next inhale, lift that foot up if you have the space. This is your balance for today. Everything is nice and focused. Find your drishti if you need to. You can do this with your eyes closed. That's awesome. If not, leave your foot down. Doesn't matter. It is still correct because you're on your mat. Even if you're on your mat in child's pose or shavasana, still here with us, soaking up the energy. Exhaling that foot down. Inhaling, exhaling, letting that hand travel all the way up over your ear. Really reach for that front wall. Reach for it. Beautiful. Feel the opening all the way down your body. Mostly, I feel it between my armpit and my hips, but I imagine this long line of energy from my fingertips to my toe tips. Beautiful blue arcing energy is what it looks like for me today. Might be pink, might be golden. Inhaling your hand up. Exhaling, inhaling up. Beautiful. Find your balance, coming back to center. Take a moment. What does it feel like? Left side to right side. Nice deep inhale up. Exhale, folding over into child's pose, coming all the way down. You can open your knees on this one, sinking back. Notice how you can sink back and it's more free in the low back. Dropping the forehead to the mat. Great. Inhaling, coming right back up. From right here, we're going to bring one foot up, the other foot up. So we're kind of in this wide angle squat with our toes facing the corners of the mat. Okay, right here. So we're going to lift up and we're going to sink down. Make sure your toes are traveling, your knees are traveling to your little toes. Okay, right here. Good. And then we're going to take the left hand and put it on the left knee and the right hand and put it on the right knee. Okay, so take a minute. You might have to wiggle around to get into your body. And then sink that tail down. Now, if you think you've gone as far as you can go, draw up through the pelvic floor and see if you can imagine touching the floor with your tailbone. Dropping out of your shoulders. So you can be up, you can be down. It doesn't have to be perfectly sliding down. Beautiful. Growing up tall. So what would it feel like if instead of having the arch here, we pulled that belly button up and you tip the pelvis like that?
Thank you.
Breathing into it. Nowhere to go. Nothing to do. Opening up that pelvic floor, opening up the pelvic bowl. And we're going to go long in our crown, nice long inhale. And we're going to exhale and press through the right shoulder. So you guys might be opposite me. We're going to look over the left shoulder. And we're going to inhale up and exhale through the left shoulder. And inhale up and exhale through the right shoulder. And inhale up. And exhale to the left shoulder. And you might begin to, as we move through this with our breath, feel the body to begin to move in ways that it hasn't moved before. It's like my elbow adjusted. My knees are kind of moving around a little bit. Just bring breath to it. Don't be afraid of it. Let it be an inquiry. Slow it down. So we've got 2 more of these on each side. And then 1 more on each side. And then we're going to come back to center right here, and we're going to go straight down again. And then we're going to come up, and we're going to stay down, but we're going to let our arms. I'm just going to hang out. See if you can stand up but sit down. Breathing into it, spin those knees open, spin them open. So sometimes I take a hold of my legs and just give it a little encouragement to, oh, what does spinning my knees open feel like? Ah, it feels like that. Are you gripping the mat with your toes? I am. What would it feel like to soften them? Smile. Wiggle through the hips a little. Get the junk out of my trunk. My trunk has gotten really full over the years. Breathing into it, inhaling, coming up. Turn those feet forward, and if you have to, you can, but just bring them in a little bit wider than hip distance, and then begin to make some circles. This is the yummy part. What are you feeling? So low back is all about stability. Are we focused? Are we stable? Super deep low back pain is sometimes financial stress. So just notice, and then also remind yourself that no matter what, it's all okay. And if it's not okay, it's not over yet. Because in the end, everything is okay. Good work. And the other way, one more time. Super. So we're going to step wide again, nice and wide. Toes are facing forward this time, okay? We're going, if you need a strap, you can use one, but if you have the space to put your hands behind you and clasp your hands, let's do that.
Well, you might give me one just in case.
So,
Thank you.
and if you don't have a strap, just do your best. A belt or a tie works. Imagining that you have a strap works also. Okay, so we're going to just start right here with our shoulders down, and as if somebody has a hold of your hands and they're pulling them down. So I'm going to give you a little show of what this looks like from this direction. So just straight down, and then lift them up off your back, however far that is for you. And if you have a hold of a strap, make sure your hands are straight, not twisted, not twisted, not twisted, because that puts a lot of pressure on the wrists. When you clasp your hands, you want them straight also. Lifting them up. And you may not come very high off the back. That's okay. So lower them down, lift through your heart, take a nice deep inhale, engage that core, and head straight forward. Okay? So this might be it for you. You may not be lifting your hands up off your back. Keep those wrists straight, and if you have the space, lift them up, heading forward. Yeah, good job. So very important to keep those wrists straight. Pretty good. This one's a little quirky. There you go. You may not be able to lift as high when you straighten those lifts. That looks good. Excellent. Imagine that I've come over and I've just touched your wrist and said, oh, this is straight. Excellent. Imagine that with every exhale, you're letting just a little more resistance leave the body. Excellent. One more inhale. One more exhale. Lower the hands down. If you have a strap, be careful not to knock yourself with the buckle. Bring your hands down in front of you and let them touch the floor. If your hands don't go all the way to the floor, that's okay. You can put them on your shins right here. I just want you to be able to have the sensation of touching something. Back is straight, okay? If you have a block, you can always use the block. Most people don't need it in this position, but sometimes you do, and that's fine. Let's take a nice deep breath in and place that right hand in front of your face on the floor. Not in front of your face, but on the floor in front of your face. With the left hand, you're gonna spin it open. We're not gonna be here, but 3 breaths. 1, 2, last one, nice inhale. Exhale, lower down. Replace that right hand with the left hand. Inhale, spin open the other way. 3 breaths. Excellent. Lowering down. Taking those hands wide apart, shoulder width apart, right here. We're going to walk them straight forward. Just be mindful of that tripod thing. Walk them straight forward. We're going to come into a wide angle, little mini down dog. So drop your head, drop your heart. Feel the hamstrings open in a different way. If you need to give a little rock in the hips, you can do that. Feel those feet connect to the floor. I don't want you so far out that your heels are coming off the floor. I'd rather have the heels connected to the floor and you be closer to your body, okay? You have to bend your knees to do that, that's fine. Beautiful work. Inhaling, walking your hands back in. Spin those toes back open, wide, okay? Left hand to the knee, right hand to the knee, sinking straight down, coming up into a seated position. So imagine that you're just sitting on a chair, imaginary chair. And then we're going to press up a little. And then we're going to sink down a little. And then we're going to press up a little. And we're going to sink down a little. And if your muscles are quivering, that's okay. They're either getting stronger or unwinding, or both. 2 more of these. Inhale up. Exhale down. Inhale up. Exhale down. Right here. We're going to do one more set of twists here, so go long in your crown. Inhale, take that right shoulder to the floor. We're going to just hang out here and breathe. Remember that pelvic floor is engaged. Remember your glutes are soft. Sometimes they grab and release. That's okay. Just notice when that happens. Inhaling, coming back to center. Exhaling, shoulder the other direction. Beautiful. Inhaling up. Exhaling all the way down. Find your way back to the floor. It might be pretty, might not be pretty. Coming back to your knees together. Sinking straight back into child's pose. So this is a closed knees child's pose because I want you to roll over your knees. Stack your hands, let your forehead rest on the back of your hands. And just take a little break here. Honoring your knees. If this isn't comfortable on your knees, don't go so far back. You can play with it. Know what it feels like. Beautiful work. And as you're ready, on your inhale, begin to move into finding your way on your mat. Okay? So, the floor is a welcome friend today for me. What we're going to do here is we're going to do a nice deep twist with some arm movement, okay? So, we're going to lengthen through the left leg. But before we begin the twist, we're going to plant our right foot and pick up our hips and kind of start the twist by letting our left hip head to the floor. Opening the arms into a T position, bringing that knee into a 90-degree angle, taking a hold of it and drawing it across the body. So as you draw it across the body, double check, make sure that you've supported through the pelvic floor. And this may or may not go all the way to the floor. Pick your shoulders up, lay them on the floor. Now be gentle here. Be gentle, no forcing. Allow the body to open in its own time. Follow your breath. What we're going to do with the right hand, this is the arm that's open in a T position. We're going to inhale and we're going to begin to take it up to midnight, as if you were the clock and your hand is the minute hand. So it's going to midnight. As you hit midnight, you're going to flip your hand over and it's going to travel to 2 o'clock. And then to 3 o'clock. And then all the way down to 6 o'clock. At 6 o'clock, you're going to flip your hand back to the sky and roll that shoulder, give that humor at the head of that humerus. That's the upper arm, that's the shoulder joint.
Okay.
And open it. If you touch your neighbor, give them love. There's more of you doing yoga together. Go again. Now slow it down this time and reach it an inch further out. Reach it out. You're going to feel this in all sorts of places. You'll feel it in the axillary, which is the armpit. Flip your hand at midnight. Reach it a little bit further. Taking it on around. You'll get a little bit of rolling in this twist. Go with it. Roll into this twist. See what it feels like to put that knee on the floor. Even if you roll in the twist. As you reach 6 o'clock, flip that hand back up. Reach it a little bit farther. And if you've already completed the round, make sure that your shoulders are back on the floor. Because as you've deepened the twist, they've maybe come off the floor. And then really drop into this. Let your counterpoints be the fingertips of your right hand reaching for that wallet at 9 a.m. And the right knee crossing over, encouraging it, breathing. Don't go past your edge, go up to it. Breathe into it. Excellent. Engage your core again. Inhale, begin to bring yourself out of that twist. Nice and gentle, nice and slow. Feel that low back connect to the earth. Draw that right knee into your chest. You're going to feel a little cattywampus because we had shifted that hip over. That's okay. Just draw it in. You're drawing that knee in and you're holding it. And then you're going to release it down and you're going to shift yourself back flat on your mat. You might have to invite the left foot in to help you. Okay? And then from right here, flat on the back, we're going to bring that right leg in and straighten it up to the ceiling. And we're going to circle that right foot. Get the ankle involved. Now, as you can tell, my leg is not straight. I have super crazy tight hamstrings. My hamstrings are always my work. And circle it the other way. That's where I'm learning to be flexible, is in my movement forward, because hamstrings are about moving forward. Circling them around. Point my toes. Flex the toes. Point the toes. And flex it. Draw that knee in slowly to the chest. Excellent. Drop that knee down. Take a hold of your shin. Draw that knee in. Release it out. Follow your breath. So, inhale as you release it out. Exhale as you draw it in. Inhale as you release it out. Exhale, draw it in. One more time. Wind relieving pose. Just as a good overall massage for the abdominal cavity. Opens the hamstrings. And it just feels really lovely. So we're going to set that foot down. We're going to bring the left foot in. Double check and make sure that you're flat on the floor. Lengthen through the right leg. Point that toe. Left foot's already standing. Lift yourself up and encourage that right hip to the floor. Open the arms into a T position, inviting that right hand on the outside of the left leg. Engage your core. Inhale, exhale, bring it around. Now, you might notice that this side's different than the other side. That's okay. Just make note of it. No judgment, just noticing. Flatten your shoulders on the floor. Now, on this side, we're going to go counterclockwise with our left arm. We're going to reach those fingertips out. Inhale, begin the movement up to midnight. So we're going to unwind our clock. As you reach midnight, flip your hand over. Continue to 9 a.m. Slow it down if you're moving really fast. Give those muscles time to open and release. Breathing into it. Sometimes we pause so the body can gather information. Remembering to really, as you're on this side of your body with your left hand, let your body roll into it. Really experience that twist. Breathing into it, reaching to 6 o'clock. Flipping your hand open as you travel up to 3. And as you hit 3 o'clock, pause and reach those fingertips out an inch farther. Inhale, begin to travel again. Up, up, up to midnight. Breathing into it. Flipping your hand over. So notice how slow I'm going. Really giving the body time to open. Following the breath. Unwinding our clock. Fully experiencing the twist. Flipping that hand open. Completing the rotation to 3 o'clock. And then remember to flatten the back again and counterpose it here. Left fingertips reaching, right fingertips encouraging the left knee to the floor. Whether it gets there or not, it doesn't matter. Just imagine it does. Breathing into it. Great job. Inhaling, engaging your core, bringing that knee up, coming out of this, hooking your hands around the shin, exhaling it into your chest. Give a nice long stretch here. Release it down. Flatten yourself back to flat. Lengthen through that right leg again. Draw that left leg in. Lengthen it up. Begin to circle that ankle. So ankle health is really important. The ankles support our entire weight of our body. Ankles, and then our feet. Our feet are amazing machines. They support all of us. And reverse. They move us through life. They plant us solid in our groundedness. Point the toes. Really feel all those muscles. Spread those toes apart and flex. Excellent. Bring that knee into your chest. Bring it in. Hands over the shin. Exhaling, drawing it in. Inhaling, releasing it out. Exhaling, drawing it in. Inhaling, releasing it out. Last one. Exhaling, drawing it in. Inhaling, releasing it out. And allow that leg to fly down. Double check. Make sure that you're flat on the floor. Lengthen through the left leg. Lengthen through the right leg. And then just check in. Take a minute here and check in. Oh, great wise body. What more do you need? My body's saying, cover me up and let me have Shavasana. If you need a bridge, feel free to do that. We did a lot of back bending in the camels, so don't necessarily need more back bend. Might need a blanket. It's a little bit cool this morning. Might not. So feel those feet fall open. And if your feet are in standing, let the knees drop together. Soften out of that pelvic floor. Let those hands fall open as the breath grows shallow and the shoulders melt into the earth. The jaw relaxes, and the eyes grow heavy. And the thinking mind slips away. Have patience. The pendulum that swung too far in one direction will swing back. At the moment of its turning, everything hangs in balance. All the momentum of past actions is suspended in midair. And those who care about what happens next are poised with it. There is a long and anxious pause before the motion shifts. And then a sense of free fall. When the world is turned on its head and nothing is known or normal. Have patience then, and do not rush to either extreme. The way will paint its own arrows on the trees if you can wait for clarity. And gently begin to deepen your breath. Wiggle your fingers and wiggle your toes. Rolling to your right side. Giving yourself the space to transition back. For those of you at home, if you want to stay in Shavasana longer, you may. You know the way back. Thank you all so much for showing up. Namaste. Namaste.